Howdy hey everyone. What is it? Like waiting for the movie to start at the cinema. Yeah, I don't have quite as many trailers as the cinema, so you should find that you get to the action a bit quicker. But hopefully people can hear me. The podcaster mic seems to be working, the volume's working, camera seems to be working. I just don't want to be too out of practice for doing one of these streams, I must admit. It has been a while since I did the last one, but there's going to be some more coming in the future for various topics, so don't you worry about that. The only thing I might want to do is either I rely on the live chat in here, which is a little bit slow on the uptake compared to what the pop-out chat normally does, because the pop-out chat already has about eight things. Oh yeah, and now they start spawning, so I guess there is a bit of a delay, but maybe I'll just keep the pop-out chat on standby. So hello John, Chewy, Carlos are all around the board, Gems and Biscuits. Wouldn't say no to a biscuit, actually. I got nothing to put in my tea. But then biscuits are a bit of a vice for me, so I would, shall we say, eat too many. So yes, good evening to everybody who's joining me on this little chat. That's essentially what it is. It's a Q&A chat. I was meant to do one of these in August, never got round to it. So was like, oops, sorry about that. And I must admit, things are quite busy at the moment. They're certainly busy at the moment, like almost hitting burnout levels, but managing. And, you know, I'm a bit more refreshed tonight because I had a massage earlier on. I get one every fortnight for stress relief on my back. So she did a good number. So like, I just feel like a little bit more... a little bit calmer, so I'm not quite as all over the shop. But yeah, work's pretty manic and pretty dull, you know, at times, you know, work-wise. I've got so much to do on the blog, you know, these top 100 videos and everything and the reviews all coming at once. It's all piling on my head at the moment, on top of trying to keep social life under wraps, trying to deal with, obviously, COVID isolation for, you know, even though we've got some things back, everybody keeps worrying about the schools right now. So it's like, oh, great, don't go locking stuff down again. And on top of that, I guess just the fact that everything's on rinse repeat. That's what's getting me at the moment. Yeah, I used to break up my year with the occasional trip hiking and board game conventions aplenty. It would give me something to look forward to. So I finished one convention and I go, all right, well, I finished UK Games Expo. Well, this convention's happening in August. Can't wait for that. Problem is, none of them are on. So other than Christmas, which doesn't really count, I've got nothing else to look forward to. There's no conventions. There's no big trip planned. I do want to go hiking around the Yorkshire Dales at some point, but it just hasn't happened. And now everything just kind of seems like, right, I'll go to work and then do this, and then I'll go to work and then do this, and I'll go to work and do some more editing. The more it's on rinse repeat, the more it just gets painful to do it. You know, trying to kind of, I don't know, big myself up, trying to get my spirits up again, like give myself something, you know, decent to do. It looks like the lag is starting to fall a little bit there. So we do have a paper cut here again, A-Rod from Mexico. Speaking about sweet treats, Truffle Shuffle was a lovely game. Is that a new one? Oh, that name sounds familiar, but I must admit, with a name like Truffle Shuffle, I've probably breezed right past it. Massage is always lovely, it always is. Howdy Akurt, howdy Omar, and yeah, it's a drag. You know, stay strong. I'm glad of it. So, I feel you. I've been trying to do a new long hike once a week. Yeah, I haven't done any hikes for a while, not since I went to visit the family up north. But I really want to do the 3 peaks of the Yorkshire Dales near me. That's my next thing. And then maybe Snowdonia after that. And there are places I want to do. But the problem is if I leave it too long into winter, I won't want to go hiking. So I need to get something booked for late September or October. You know, somewhere in early October, late September. I need to get a week away, somewhere where I can hike and just spend the whole week just hiking around hills or up hills. I tend to like hill climbs. If I can do that before winter hits, I'll be probably in better spirits. But then I'll probably be in better spirits once September's over, because I'll have calmed down a bit on the blog, because the top 100 will be mostly done, and the reviews I'm gonna do start there. And actually, I'll get onto that in a minute. Let's have a look at the things. Have you thought of doing a national free peaks? That's what I'm on about. National free peaks. I don't know. I haven't really looked at that. When I say free peaks, I'm talking about the Yorkshire Dale free peaks. And I don't mean the challenge. I'm not trying to walk up 3 hills in like 12 hours or whatever ridiculousness that is. I can't manage. But I literally just want to go to the Yorkshire Dales and walk up those 3 peaks. You know, I'll do 1 a day, do some other stuff during the week, you know, and just basically just chill. Find a hotel room and just chill. That would be quite nice, because I do like to clear my head on a decent walk, you know, especially when it's solo. Have you tried a weekend away? Well, I haven't tried a weekend away, not since going to visit the family early August. Problem is, I've got loads of stuff with the blog. It's hard to find time to take a break. But like I say, I'm trying to think of when I can do a hiking trip, so that's my next plan. Did you ever watch the Goonies, Truffle Shuffle? Oh, I'm trying to think. I think I know what you're referring to. But yes, I did watch the Goonies. Good old classic. It's more weird just looking at the child actors in it and realizing that, wait a minute, you're Josh Brolin? Oh my god, is that you're Thanos? How's that insane? Meeple in Scotland, great geology there. To be honest, Scotland is pretty good geology-wise, and I would love to go hiking around the Highlands, but that's a bit of a mission trip for me. I'd have to fly up there. There's no way I'm driving all the way up there. Don't you get days off from Mexican independence next week? No, as far as I'm aware. I wish I did. I'd love to take days off for every country's independence. That would be nice. Do you want this to wake you up when September ends? Could do, but then I'm too wired at the moment for September. At this point, I'm just looking forward to Xmas. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. At this point, just hunkering down so I don't get caught in the second wave. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the second wave. I mean, I'm hoping it won't. I'm hoping it's a bit overreacting in the sense, because, I mean, we had all those protests back here in the summer and all those people crowding around beaches in the summer, and yet nothing happened from there. So why should this be any different? I don't get why this should be the catalyst and not that. So that's what's making me a little bit skeptical, but we'll see. I'm just hoping that things just maybe spike a tiny bit recently, but don't get out of control. But anyway, yes, so channel updates, very quick. Basically, top 100 is coming. So I've already done the first 10, and the next 20 or so, I've got 1 book for tomorrow. So tomorrow you're going to get that scheduled for evening time, my British time. And then the other one I've just got to edit, but I'm hoping to get that edited by Friday, so you can have 2 this week. So you should have 20 more videos in that top 100 at that point. And then the top 100 is going to sort of come out maybe 1 or 2 a week, up to around the top 50 or top 30. I don't know. I need to get people's feedback on this, because I can't do 10 pre-recorded videos. It will just kill me. You know, they take a long time to edit and do. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to live stream at least the top 30. That is a given. It was originally just 10. Now I've expanded it to 30, because when I look at my list, the top 30, I think, has the most change in terms of new stuff and shakeabout. So I'm going to enjoy live streaming that. And that will be a case of I'll do a separate live stream for every 10, evening time, my time. So sorry if you're in Australia. And then I'll basically do that. So people will still watch the stream after, even if they're not on the live stream, but at least they will, you know, have something else to watch there. But me being able to stream it means that I can just basically do a case of, all right, I just have to plan for the stream, sit down, talk for an hour, and then the stream's done, and then it's uploaded. I don't have to spend 3 hours editing it. So, you know, that'll do me a really good thing. The only thing I haven't decided is whether I'm going to live stream the top 40 or top 50 as well, because at the moment I'm going to pre-record the bottom 50. So that's a given. I'm going to do the bottom 50 pre-recorded. That's a given. I don't know whether to live stream from 49 onwards or to wait until 30 and then start live streaming. We'll see how I feel when I get to 50, really. But yeah, definitely the 30. In terms of other channel updates, though, the other thing, actually, before I start, in terms of queries and Q&A stuff, I've got a few from Patreons here that I'm going to do first. But feel free to put some in the chat, but not too many, and I'll get to them afterwards. But what I might say is best to do is wait until I've answered these ones and then spam the chat with a ton of other queries, because otherwise we run the risk of losing them. But keep that one, Pascal Peters, keep that query saved for later, and I'll answer that one later. But yeah, top 50 will save you a lot of extra work. Top 100 is far. We do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And also, Carlos, keep that question about Essen 2020 to later. I'll answer it then. So same for you, A-Rod, because I think you're asking a similar query. So yeah, keep those saved for later and I'll answer them then. But other channel updates, other than Top 100, more reviews. I mean, Glasgow just came out. Pendulum is next. That's the next review, which is already done. I just need to edit it. And that's going to be probably next week because I need to do Top 100s this week. Another Folded Space is coming out on Thursday. And the podcast will be on Sunday. So Pendulum will be early next week, probably something like that. And that will be, as far as I'm aware, the last review I need to do urgently, other than this little thing. Alma Mater. That's the newest one I've just received. So I'm learning the rules to it at the moment. It's a bit of a beast. I'm going to play as much as I can out of it tomorrow at my games club. I've got some willing volunteers. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this works. It's essentially the same people and publisher and artist who did Coimbra. So I like Coimbra. So hopefully this will be better. And the theme, even though it looks a little abstracted, still is a better theme. It's about running a university and getting students and professors and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, that could be cool. As long as they don't do what Newton did and give you what sounds like an interesting theme and then completely abstract it. But we will see on that front. The only other thing for the channel update before I get to queries is I'm thinking that obviously I want to get back to top 10s. You know, I know you guys love top 10s. I know everybody else who watches the channel loves top 10s. That's probably what half the subscriber count likes. And I know I haven't done any of them for a while. That's not by choice. It's just the fact that there hasn't been time. So when the top 100 is done, I will be going back to top 10s with fireball passion. Like really trying to pump out a lot of top 10 lists. And the idea with that is that I want to still do reviews, obviously, but I'm going to try and taper the format of when I do reviews. Because if we talk about how long it takes me to do a video, right? It could take me somewhere about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to record a video. A typical top 10 or review video will take me around 3/4 of an hour max to record all the footage, because I always record some stuff multiple times, or I make mistakes, or I've got to think about it. And then you add on another, say, 2 to 3 hours, probably 2 to 3 hours, 3 hours max for editing it and uploading it. They take a long time to do. So, you know, and that's reviews and top 10s. So the idea is that review videos don't get as much in the way of views. In fact, well, actually, I won't get an example just yet, but basically, if you look at how much growth the top 100 video had compared to the reviews I've done, yeah, there's a bit of a skew to the top 10 stuff, and I don't blame you. I love doing those ones. Reviews are hit and miss. So what I want to do is obviously do a lot more top 10s. But I obviously still need to do some reviews because I've got to make a living on this channel. But not a living, sorry. I've got to perpetuate the channel. But some reviews, what I'm thinking of doing, and you can give me your comments as to whether you think this will be a good idea, is some really big games, the big name games, will be a video, proper video. But what I'm thinking of doing for the other reviews, say, I mean, for example, I did a video on Glasgow this week. Did I really need to do a video review for Glasgow? It's not that big a game that everybody needed to know about it, but I wanted to review it. So what I'm thinking of doing is doing stuff like maybe live stream reviews or more reviews on the podcast. So whether that means I'll do the podcast weekly again or keep it to fortnightly, but what it means is that I could do a review on the podcast where I basically just do a mini detail review, like a rapid fire review on the podcast. So I'm still reviewing the game. I'm still giving the publishers what they want, but not devoting 3 hours of my editing time to get it edited. The alternative to that is doing live stream reviews. So I don't think there's anybody out there who does live stream reviews. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the idea of that is that I could do 30-minute live streams, you know, short streams, 30, 45-minute tops. Not a huge amount of advance notice, I'll admit, but still some live streams. And literally, I would just sit here, board game in my hand, show you components on the camera, talk about what I think of the game, and then people can ask questions in the chat what they want to know about the game. So, for example, let's say I was doing the second edition of Seven Wonders. People have got all sorts of questions about that. I could answer those questions live on stream based on my experiences with the game. So it's kind of giving it a live review, but involving the chat. How does that sound? Yeah, let me know what you think on that front. Let's keep up with the chat then. Where we got? Bruno Kafala said there'll be some announcement for Essen Online. Yes, this Essen Online I have heard about. I've had some emails to get involved in that in a sense, but I just don't know what I do. I mean, I'm kind of done with online conventions. I don't mind online gameplay, but I didn't really care that much about the online UK Games Expo apart from doing those 2 streams with Paul Grogan. I did Under Falling Skies and Lost Ruins of Arnak. I did those 2 games. My last podcast talks in more detail about that. But that was good fun. But other than that, I just didn't really care about the convention. And so the Essen one is not exactly grabbing me as much either, but it's Essen. Maybe I should do something? I don't know. I'm more interested in doing a charity game day because Dementia UK has got something called Get Gaming or something like that. I can't remember what the thing is, but basically they're calling out for some way of raising money for Dementia UK related to board gaming. And I'm wondering whether my cafe will let me teach games for the day for charity. I don't know, something like that. So I'm more interested in that than I am Essen. J Dom, good evening to you. Little late to the party, does not matter, because even though I try to keep these streams to an hour, it always fails, so you've got plenty coming up yet. Even a rapid fire review on its own video would be good, like a 5-10 minute video, then save the big reviews for the big games. It's hard for me to tell what review is going to be a big one, though. I mean, even Glasgow took 15-20 minutes to do, and that's only a small game. When I get into the mode, because I don't script my reviews, I can go on a bit. So they can still be long. The only videos I've managed to do that were quick, rapid fire so far were the Citadels one. You know, the Citadels Mover and Shaker. I need to do another one of those at some point soon, actually, because that was good. But that one was easy to do in 7-6 minutes. But a review in 6-7 minutes, it's difficult to review a game that quick. I mean, I always say that, you know, these people who do reviews in 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, it's not really a review, it's an overview. You can't give enough detail for my personal, you know, if somebody gave me a review of a game in 3 minutes, I just wouldn't have enough detail to make a purchasing decision. Whereas, you know, I watch a Dice Tower review that might take 15 minutes, then I get the information in that time. So hard to say with the rapid fire one, but the live stream one I'm slightly keen on. I like the idea of talking to people live and just like getting questions asked, and then if people want to watch the review after the stream's finished, well, they can watch it and still get the review. It's an interesting idea. Legit, I suggest you only do video review if you think the game is very popular, very underrated, or hidden gem. Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking. I mean, Glasgow, for example, it's a neat game. Check out the review. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think it's neat, but I don't think it's going to be that popular. I don't think it's going to be an underrated game, and I certainly don't think it's a hidden gem. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good game, but just not amazing. So maybe I do need to be a bit more picky with the games. But when people give you free stuff, it's kind of hard to turn it down. Maybe you could do a video roundup at the end of each month for a bunch of games like Glasgow just to cover it all. Possibly. The only problem is I don't know if Asmodee would be keen on that and certain publishers. But we'll have to see. That's an idea, though. It's an idea. There was a Dementia event near me, but I never went because I forgot about it. I mean, I've just heard that they're doing something in October, and I like teaching games. I like going to my board game cafe. I know COVID would have some issues with it, but if the cafe was willing to lend me 3 of their big tables, I could sit a bunch of 2-player games on, 4-player games or something, and people were told in advance that they could come around and I will teach them it, and all I've got to do is just spend the day teaching games. I'd enjoy it, and the charity gets some money, so be interesting. Yeah, more like Citadels, please. Also agree with Carlos. Do the games you want and like, and ones that are big that you need for views. Well, that's how to get some views anyway, but I mean, Citadels wasn't really a review of Citadels. Citadels was a mover and shaker. It was to tell you why it had changed, why it had gone up in my ratings. And then I just talk about the game generally. If I can do a review in 5 to 10 minutes, I can try, but I don't know if I'd get all the information out. I mean, I certainly wouldn't be able to put channel promotions on the end of it, because bear in mind, a channel promotion I'm doing at the moment for smaller channels, that's a minute and a half worth of time added onto the video just to do the promotion. So that's already factored in for the big ones. I'll have to see. I mean, certainly some smaller rapid videos or podcast, because the podcast is a video podcast. Maybe I could just review them on there more often. I might maybe spread it around, especially in the coming months where we're getting into Essen releases, where suddenly it's going to be like 1 million games. Hard to think. Right. Questions are coming in the chat, so let's move on anyway. Let's get on to Patreons first. So Patreons get first dibs. First one I got, Brian Thomas has given me just one question, but it's a fair biggie. It's related to accessories. what? Oh, I wrote down bullet points for what I was going to answer and forgot to actually write the question down. 1 sec. In fact, easier way of doing this, I can simply look on my phone for the actual email, because I think I've still got it. I think it was mainly just, what kind of accessories do you have? Which ones do you like to get? And have you considered doing a top 10 list on accessories? In terms of top 10 list, maybe. I am thinking about doing that at some point once I get back into it. So that is a possibility. In terms of accessories, do I tend to get a lot of them? Yes, but there are some that I just don't care about. Some accessories I just get for free. Like, for example, stuff I don't really care about. Dice trays. I don't really care about dice trays. So, but then Chip Theory Games, when they gave me Too Many Bones to review, they gave me this cool dice tray. It's a leather dice tray, and it's like, that's okay, it's cool. I've got it, but I didn't desperately need it. It's just, they've given it to me. But then dice towers, with this Gigason table I've got, for whatever reason, I ended up with a big dice tower with it. I think it came free or something like that. And it's this huge, chunky thing. You can see Steven's still got Gigason dice in it. But I never really used dice towers. I barely even bother with the one in Wingspan. So why do I care that much about any other dice tower? I just think, I'll just roll the dice on the thing. I want to roll them. I don't want to chuck them in an object. That's the idea with them. And then, is there any other accessory I don't really care about? No, actually, I think that's the ones I don't care about. But in terms of the ones I do like, what are my favorites? Well, first, I don't know how I would rank them, but here are the most common ones I use. Sleeves for a kickoff. I do like to sleeve my games, particularly if they are games where the cards are going to get handled a lot. I do make a difference with games that have either got far too many cards to sleeve, or ones where the cards are barely handled, and I'm thinking, you know what, all they do is sit on a display. It's not that essential, but as soon as you got to pick them up, manage your hand, shuffle them. I'm more a drafting game, for example, I need to sleeve the game. And I do have one provider I use religiously now, which are these guys, Sleeve Kings. I know their packaging is not a lot to speak of. They used to have something a bit more interesting, but now it's just this boring this boring setup here. Hang on, can't see my... There we go. Get rid of the pop-up chat for a minute and go with that. So Sleeve Kings are the ones I use here, and they're really good because firstly, 60% thickness, basically 60 microns. They're halfway between cheap sleeves and too thick premium sleeves, so they're a nice balance. But the main thing is that they do all the different sizes, so they've got a good selection. They cost no different than a typical booster pack, but they have, if you can see the quantity there, 110. They had this weird idea that because games do like the annoying thing of giving you 106 cards in a box, they decided to do like 110 sleeve packs to cover those instances. It's a weird little gimmick, but I get more sleeves for my money, and it usually means you can buy less packs. So I take it. But yeah, I do like sleeving, and these are the ones I will always advocate. I used to use Mayday, but they split and they get a little bit annoying. These do not split. Love these sleeves. I hope the chat hasn't frozen because I haven't seen anybody speak for a while, so I'm curious about that. But connection looks good, 40 odd viewers, so by all means keep chatting. Other accessories, metal coins. I like metal coins, but I don't tend to go out of my way to get them unless they're part of a Kickstarter. The Architects of the West Kingdom, I've got their metal coins. The Viticulture, I've got the metal coins. Scythe, I've got the metal coins. Is there any other ones with metal coins? I got Netrunner metal coins, which I use for... I've actually put the Netrunner coins I used to use in Underwater Cities, so I use that now. And I've just noticed it's... I was trying to put some extra light over here because it was a bit darker, but the battery seems to be running down low, but no biggie. But I do have some other... if I can get out of my seat. Other ones that I do use. One sec. There we go. I bought an extra set of these. These come from the Villagers box. So I've got the copy of Villagers in the other room. I like these coins. They're like big chunky wooden coins. I bought an extra set. So now I have a random set of wooden coins I can use for any game, which is pretty sweet. I also, before I go on to the next question, really like realistic resources. I like the Stonemaier resources. I use them whenever I can in games. And I've even got I mean, I'm not going to show them all up there, but you can actually, I might be able to tilt the camera because I've got it on a boom arm. So, one sec, let me, with the magic of technology. No, here we go. There you go. You can see the cases there on the left. That's the Stonemaier treasure chests. So they've got all the different like resin resources in there. I usually keep forgetting to take them off the shelf and use in my games, but when I do use them in my games, they work great. And the horror one in there, I use a lot for Arkham Horror, the card game. There's a resources one there, which if you've played Pillars of the Earth, you replace the resources in Pillars of the Earth with resin pieces. It is one of the most beautiful sights in board gaming. It really is nice. But they are quite expensive. And I do have, from my source, these puppies, which to be fair, are only really going to get used if I play Caverna anytime soon. But they are, trying to see it. Yep, they are realistic animals. So we got cows, we got sheep, we got dogs, we got donkeys and pigs. So this is basically Caverna resources. If I ever get my copy of Caverna out again, I am so using these animals. It's a luxury, but I thought, why not? I'm going to put them down there. And the only other accessory I tend to get is board game inserts. Again, more for functionality rather than just making it look good. You know, if the insert doesn't do what I need it to do, then it fails and I don't bother. But yeah, I do like getting those. So can I do a top 10 accessories list? Maybe. I mean, I'll add it to the list and I'll let the Patreons in the upper tiers vote for. I think it's the $5 tier upwards I've got it on. But I'll let them vote for what ones they like. And I'll add that one quick. Am I working up to getting the Seasons dice out again? No, so not planning to, but they're not an accessory. They're part of a board game. But, you know, maybe if there is an accessory for chunkier dice, that works. All right. Next two questions before I get on to the live chat. John and Yvonne Stone have kindly given us 3 questions here, a bit smaller than the other ones, hopefully. Well, this one's very small. First one, do you go to charity shops and have you found any good games while in them? Sadly, I can't really talk much about this one because, one, I only rarely go into charity shops because of the second reason that I just don't find anything good in a charity shop. I really don't. The charity shops just don't seem to have anything useful for me. I hear stories of people for... I'm glad I answered, Brian, thanks. I go in there and I see stories of like, oh, I went into this charity shop and I found this really cool game for like 5p. Oh, great. Well, you're the 1 in a million that ever does. Because every time I go in there, all I see is used copies of Scrabble and Jigsaw puzzles. Not what I'm desperate for in my collection. I think in the UK, we don't get a lot of good stuff in our charity shops when it comes to board games. But I do hear stories of, like in the US, if you go into thrift stores, I think they're called over there rather than charity shops, you can get some really good discounts in thrift stores. What's the Australian? I mean, you're both New Zealand. So what's the difference over there? What do you call a charity shop? Is it that or something different? But yeah, I just don't really do a lot with the charity shops. If something is in there, I pop in when I'm visiting a city, but that's about it. Second question, what game has spent the least amount of time in your collection and why? I had to think about this, and yes, I have thought about these questions at the time. We call them op shops. Okay, op shop? Different, but okay. But yeah, least time in collection. I had to think about this one because I really couldn't picture which game, because if I get a game to review and I don't like it, or I don't feel I want to keep it, it goes out fairly quick. It never really entered the collection. So it never really like entered the collection in order to get taken out of it. But what I'm trying to think of is a game that did go in my collection and then left it. And there's 2 I can think of. One that I'm going to get rid of soon, I think, and that's because it hasn't been in my collection for a while. And that is Wavelength. The party game where you've got the dial, you have the card, a little party game where somebody goes like, they turn the dial and it says most evil or less evil, and the other players have to try and guess on this dial where they think their clue is based on what they say. I mean, I've explained it a bit poorly, but I mean, I've played it and I do enjoy it, but I put it in the collection and I haven't really brought it out since. So I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe I don't really need to hang on to this one. And I've got about 2 or 3 games I want to put back in the collection, like Small World of Warcraft, Too Many Bones needs to go in there, possibly Alibari. So I kind of need space, and Wavelength could go. But the other one I could think of was Paladins of the West Kingdom. That one officially did go into my collection when I first reviewed it. But then as I quickly started noticing, oh, the replay value isn't as good as I thought, and it's bone dry, and I kind of prefer Architects, and there's these other Euro games, I fairly soon got rid of Paladins of the West Kingdom. And I don't think it's a bad game, but it's just not my thing. You know, it looks nice, fine, but it's just bone dry. You can only play it one of 3 ways because of the whole seesaw thing you've got to do with the stats as you boost them up. Like, you do one action to boost the stat you can do for another one. That's that. I don't mean to be rude, but I got to go to work now. Catch the rerun. Yeah, I feel sorry for you guys over there where the time zone doesn't suit. But don't worry, catch the rerun. I'll see you soon, and I'll answer your question while I'm here. So at least you'll get them answered eventually. But yeah, Paladins, I just thought, yeah, you know what? This game isn't suiting me. I don't want to bring it out. I've got thematic Euros I'd rather bring out. And I just figured, you know what? I need it to leave the collection. I've got Raiders of the North Sea fully complete, and Architects of the West Kingdom fully complete, and I'm excited for Viscounts of the West Kingdom because I have played it online on Tabletop Simulator, and it is really good. So those 3 I'll be happy with. And then finally, the third question before I get on to the chat. Who would you want to chat? Was it? Oh yeah, sorry, I'm trying to remember how the question was phrased. You can pick someone to have a chat with. Who would it be? Basically, like, famous person to chat to. And I thought, okay, how do I answer this one? Because there's the cliche thing of, oh, I can meet my crush or something, you know, like, I can think of like 100 different like actresses I'd love to meet for a chat or go out on a dinner date with, just because I think they're lovely. But I was trying to think, well, who seriously will I want to have a chat with? And this is not board game related. I wanted to try and get it off that. But then I had a bit of a brainwave the other day. I sometimes browse YouTube for stuff that I remember watching, nostalgia, and, you know, I sometimes watch a few clips, you know, select scenes from stuff that I've done when I want to, if I need to perk myself up, I'll watch something happy. If I feel like I need to, you know, calm down a bit, I'll watch something like dramatic or sad or whatever. And I watched something the other day. It's a docudrama. In fact, actually, let me change to the web browser. This should work. Oop, it's only a game. Right, okay, so there we go. So we got the link, and this means I can get the web browser up. Whoop. Yep, hopefully that's working there. Cool. So if I go onto, so I already had Paladins of the West Kingdom there because I was looking it up, but this is a docudrama called An Adventure in Time and Space. Some of you might recognize what this is, but is it An Adventure in Space and Time? What's it called? Yes, this is it. Here we go. So what this is, I'm a Doctor Who fan. Big Doctor Who fan. I grew up with the classic series. I've got the recent series. Yes, I know it's taken a bit of a downhill spiral with the writing lately. No problem with Jodie Whittaker. I just think the writing's gone to pot, but oh well. Not everything can last forever in its prime. But I like some of the new stuff, and I really love the classic series. I've got every single classic DVD downstairs on the shelf. But An Adventure in Space and Time is a docudrama they did shortly before the 50th anniversary a few years ago. Cool, blimey, I feel old. That was a while back. I remember being really excited for that. And it was good. I enjoyed it. But this drama is a special one where they portray the start of Doctor Who. So how it came to be, the tale of the female producer who, you know, was trying to come up with this, like, get this idea off the ground, but nobody would take her seriously because in the 60s, you know, females in employment and media, they got pushed to the wayside, you know, sad as it is. And yeah, and no one had faith in this series. And basically Richard Bradley, who you might know from Game of Thrones and Harry Potter, does William Hartnell. In fact, he did it so well. I think he does a brilliant William Hartnell. He was so good, they brought him in for Peter Capaldi's final adventure where he meets the First Doctor. And when I saw that, I didn't know that was coming. But as soon as I saw that cliffhanger, I was like, you know, like fanboyish on the couch. Really, really good. Anyway, this drama is fantastic. You got any interest in how Doctor Who started, and you want a tearjerker at the very end, if you are not bawling in tears, then something's wrong with you. But this is a fantastic drama. Only lasts about an hour. Go find a copy of it or go download it. It is fantastic. So with regards to who I would chat to, and I know this is going to sound soppy as all get out, and I would like to chat to William Hartnell himself, the first Doctor. They make a big deal of this in the drama, but I don't want to spoil much. But basically, Doctor Who is now, I mean, the fact that it is this big a phenomenon is insane. You know, nobody back then in the 60s could have imagined that Doctor Who would still be going now. It may not be as strong as it once was, but it's had its up and downs, but it's still going. Nobody could have, predicted that. On a second date, Stephen made me watch Paradise Towers. Oh, yeah. I mean, they were quite corny, the Sylvester McCoy ones, but I thought Sylvester was a really cool Doctor, so I liked it. His story writing was a bit hit and miss, but I thought he was quite funny. I thought Sylvester was really good. But the drama used to be that. Basically, nobody would predict it would be on now. William Hartnell could not have known. Because the story is that William Hartnell was suffering from, he was getting older, he was suffering from dementia. Or I don't know if it was dementia, but he was basically forgetting his lines, getting irritated that people were leaving the show, like the producer and his favorite assistant. So he was getting more difficult to work with. But because of his debilitating mental illness, he couldn't remember lines. So eventually the people with Doctor Who came up with the whole regeneration idea and replaced him with Patrick Troughton. But he never wanted to leave. He really wanted to stick around. So, he enjoyed it. He would have done it until the day he died. So I would love to go back, chat with him, and just tell him what Doctor Who became. Because I think that would just make his day. Because he probably went on and thought, oh, well, Patrick Troughton's doing a half-decent job and then that's it. But if I went back and told him that 7 other Doctors did the whole thing and then another 4 or 5 after that, I think it would make his day. So I'd just love to have the chat to him and just talk to him about how Doctor Who just came about and what it was like for him and that. Because, he's underrated. He was a good Doctor. I mean, it was the old one. Yes, you got the 60s style black and white and sets and that. But it would have been really good, I think, just to talk to him about the upcomings of Doctor Who. But yeah, honestly, if you have not seen this adventure in space and time, seriously, download it if you have to. It's an hour and 10 minutes or something. It's not sure. It has got star cast. It has got, here we got David Bradley, Brian Cox, Jessica Raine, Saka Dwal. I can't pronounce his name, but he was the Master in the Jodie Whittaker era. And there are some A-grade actors in this docudrama, and it is pinpoint accurate what I remember from it being brought up, but it just tells a really good story. It really is good. Right. So with that in mind, let's pop back to the large cam and have a look at the chat. Love Ace. Ace was cool. Yeah, it was nice to have a companion who could stand up for herself. And as much as I like Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor, oh my God, did I hate, I've forgotten her name. What was her name? Who was the one before Ace? Melanie, that was it, Mel. Oh, they hated her. Just constant screaming. It's like, shut up. It's like, God, I hated that. We put up with it in the 60s because in the 60s they made, and in some way the 70s, they made female companions be the ones who scream, the ones who weren't standing up for themselves and stuff. And it was just the times. It was the times. And thankfully that changed as times went on. But Mel just felt like it was the 60s trying to come back. And it's like, oh, shut up. But what do we got? And I thought I had another Doctor Who one there. Oh, yeah. If only Peter Capaldi was still the Doctor. I like Jodie. I think Jodie's take on it is fine. It's different. I'm up to different things. But yeah, Peter was good. There's no denying that. I mean, the thing is, what's it called? Christopher Eccleston was good. I thought he was good. David Tennant is one of my favorites of all time. I think he was fantastic, just handpicked. Matt Smith, I thought he was going to suck. I thought he was going to suck right royally because I didn't know who this guy was. I thought he's way too young. There's no way this is going to work. As soon as I watched the 11th hour, I slapped myself in the face, instantly regretted anything I said and loved him to bits. He was fantastic. And Peter Capaldi, I already knew he was a fantastic actor after watching Children of Earth, the Torchwood season 3. He's in that as a politician who gets screwed over, and he's fantastic in that. When I saw him in that and a couple of Doctor Who bit parts, I knew Peter Capaldi was going to be excellent. And what a surprise, he was. So, yeah. Right, let's get on to the chat. I'll have a quick scroll up to see if there are any that I've missed questions that I can have a look. We shall see. I'm not going to go back too far, though, so if I don't answer your question, then just ask it again in the chat, please. That would be great. So I'm only going to go back a little bit. Let's go back to when I was talking about the channel updates. Video roundup. Nope. More like Citadels. Right, here we go. So let's start with Jesus D's question and go down. So if you were before that, just ask it again, please. What we got? Have you ever thought about making a top list of games you hate, why you hate them, and what game you would choose instead? Well, I have done lists like top 10 games I hate and top 10 games I think are overrated. I still get trolled about them to this day. I mean, I had one guy come on recently. I mean, I don't care. I blocked him anyway. But, he was like, well, I know I need to avoid this channel now. I'm so angry I'm going to punch a wall or something stupid like that. I mean, it was a lame, childish thing. But it's like, dude, if you can't take someone else's opinion just because they ragged on one of your beloved games, then frankly, just get lost. Because it's like, you're just trolling and I can't be bothered with children these days. But, yeah, I still get them now. In terms of why I hate them, well, I already do that. If I do a top 10 list of games and I don't like them, or if I ever say on a video I don't like this game, I'll say why. And I know people are trying to troll me with Concordia and Great Western Trail. I've already said why I hate those games, so it's no secret. But what game I would choose instead? That's an interesting one. I don't know what I would do for that. I mean, maybe that would be an interesting list. Games I hate, and what game I would pick instead that's similar. But then the only thing is, if it's a game I hate because it's a genre I hate, like if it's a train game, what am I going to pick for a train game? I've got 2 train games I do actually own, but they're pretty light. I don't know an alternative to an 18xx train game. I don't like 18xx, period. So I don't know where that's going to work. Sleeves. Board Game Co. says Sleeve Kings are good for the money. They are. In fact, actually, if you live in the UK, go to a website called Board Game Extras. They are where I get my resources from, the Sleeve King stuff from, my tokens, my counters, all my stuff and LCG stuff I get from that website. Give them a look. Do I find the tree in Everdell excessive? Yes, but it looks cool. I mean, it looks great. I don't mind it. Yes, it's overproduced, but I'd rather something was overproduced than underproduced. Backed any Kickstarters lately? The expansion to Western Legends, Blood Money I backed. Aside from that, I don't think I've backed anything since early August time. I'm kind of waiting for Kickstarter stuff to arrive. But yeah, I don't think I've backed anything apart from that Western Legends expansion. So yeah, I haven't seen much on Kickstarter that's really interested me. And to be fair, I could do with keeping my wallet in one check. Someone else has already asked the Kickstarter thing. Have you had a chance to check out the Rise of Red Skull expansion yet? Sadly, no. I've just been so busy with time, but I can see it here. It is literally right over there. Right over there. I was watching The Boys, because I've finished watching Avatar and The Legend of Korra recently, and fantastic series. I did reviews of them on my page. And now I'm starting to watch The Boys, because everybody's going on about season 2, and it's like, fine, let me watch The Boys and find out if it's any good. No spoilers. I've only watched 2.5 episodes, so I kind of need to find out for myself. But so far, I think it's okay. I don't think it's fantastic, but I've only watched 2.5 episodes. So let me watch the rest of the first season, and I'll decide whether I'm going to carry on with season 2. But during that, I was unboxing Rise of Red Skull. So I've got it in there. I need to print out a few dividers from online, from Board Game Geek. I've got most of them in there, but he's updated it with a few extras, so I need to do that. And that one will... I'll hopefully get a chance to play that this weekend. Maybe Thursday evening, not Friday, because I got Don't Starve Together night. But yeah, I mean, this weekend, maybe Thursday evening. Thursday evening I need to edit. So yeah, I mean, weekend. I'll try and get some time on the weekend to really plow through that campaign, because I am excited to do it. Especially as I've also managed to refill my pack shortage with Doctor Strange, because it ran out of stock. I've now got him, so I'm probably going to take Doctor Strange and go through the Rise of Red Skull campaign. That should be pretty cool. Okay. Have you any experience with E-Raptor foam inserts? Thinking about getting the scythe? not their foam inserts. I've done reviews for some of their wooden ones, and I'm doing reviews at the moment for folded space foam inserts. Foam inserts are good. They're cheaper. I don't see why they would be a problem. Just make certain it holds the expansions you need. What's your culling criteria? Culling criteria. Hard to say. I mean, one, how often does it get played? Do I play it often enough to warrant being in the collection? Now, I don't take that with great weighting because there are games in here that I probably haven't played for over a year. I mean, I can't remember the last time I played. Trying to think of an example. Inish and Robinson Crusoe I haven't played for. New Angeles, Automobiles I haven't played for a while. Quadropolis. Shadows of a Camelot, that might be leaving the collection soon, actually. I'm kind of getting a bit bored with that one. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I've only got so much time. But in case of, firstly, has any game come out that's similar to it? Like, that I think is slightly better. If one comes out that's better than what this one already did, that gets cold. It just happens. Another thing is usually a case of, I just have to think to myself, right, it's the same when I was ranking my top 100. I go back and think, right, how do I feel about playing this game? If I was to go out to a game cafe night and I can only take so many games and I'm thinking I'm going to take this type of game, does this one get picked? Or do I feel like, oh, I really would like to play that? Do I get that sense of feeling? If I do, the game stays. If I don't, there's more chance it will be culled. Because I did that with Gaia Project. You know, I liked Terra Mystica for a while and I enjoyed Gaia Project as fine. I got rid of Terra Mystica when I got Gaia Project. But then I never felt like taking Gaia Project out of the box because I thought, well, I'd rather play these other Euros. So I ended up sort of after a while going, well, every time I feel like I can get a heavy Euro out, I'd rather play these other heavy Euros that are more thematic. So I sold Gaia Project. And that was half the reason for that one. Not that it's a bad game, I just really didn't feel like playing it. So my rating dropped. Now we're on to Doctor Who's. Let's skip those. I want to talk to Skelton for a bit of Dalek and Zippy. That would be quite fun, actually. If I dislike most of the first Martian scenarios, will I enjoy the campaign? Many scenarios made me swear and want to flip the table. Curious what scenarios they would be, because I quite like the stuff in First Martians. But the first campaign that you do has different scenarios to the ones that you're doing. I think the first scenario in it is well, actually, no, even the first scenarios do it. Basically, the scenarios are unique to the campaign. And some of them do change up the game quite a bit in terms of what the other scenarios do, particularly as you get further on. So I would say do the campaign. I don't want to spoil the Legacy one, but it's a similar thing as well. So I would say, even if you're not a huge fan of some of the standalone campaigns, standalone scenarios, try the campaigns out. Try it out. How did you come by the broken Meeple? I wish it could be a more interesting conversation, but sadly it's not. I literally was just starting off the blog, couldn't think of a name, all the good names had been taken, and so I just decided, I was just playing around, playing a game of Spirium, I think, and I was getting the pieces out, and I pulled out a Meeple, and it had a broken black leg, and I just sort of said to myself, great, I've got a broken Meeple in the box, and then it was like the light bulb just went above my head, and I thought, broken Meeple? That could work. Hard to say. And I just went with it and stuck with it. Could I think of a better name? No. Is there a better name I could use in the Broken Meeple? Oh, hell yeah. But it's one that's stuck, and that's pretty much the lame reason why I've got that as a blog name. Back to my question, any interest in Essen 2020 releases? There's a new Rosenberg Halato, new Fister, Cloudage, and Ruins of Arsnak. Something like that seems hot. Ruins of Arnak, I'm really looking forward to. Check out my podcast that I did recently, The Year of CGE. I talk in more detail about that. And if you want to see me actually play the game, I forget which one it was. I think it was game 2 of Arnak, but my podcast will explain in more detail. And I've got the link to the video that I did with Paul Grogan. I live streamed the game with him on his channel. So if you want to see what it's like to play and see me going like, not goo goo gaga levels, but certainly like getting into the theme and having fun and making jokes, then watch those 2 streams with me in. It will benefit his channel, which I think he could, I'm sure I think it's worth going to get some views on Paul Grogan's channel. But then the streams I think were good fun. So by all means, watch them if you want to know about Arnak. I don't even know what Cloudage is. I barely looked at it. It's an Alexander Pfister game, which means there's a 60% chance I probably won't like it, but I'll look at it. I'll look at it and see what it's like. And Halato I am interested in. Another Rosenberg, but I'm just hoping it won't be a clone of every other game he's done. I've already got Caverna and Fields of Arle and Agricola, all creatures great and small. How many farming games do I need? So it's going to have to wow me. When Nooseford, Reykjavik, no, Raycolt, I've got that as well for a light one. But yeah, I mean, it's got to sell me. Nooseford or Nussford, however you pronounce it, I just thought it was pretty basic and bland. I didn't really care too much about that game. And it's like everybody lords over it. And it's just like, I've got Caverna and Fields of Arle. I'd rather play them. So Halato sounds cool, but it's really going to have to wow me. I mean, it's going to have to be 9 or 10 out of 10 for me to consider going mad for it. Because otherwise it would just seem like more of the same. You should check out Mercado de Lisboa, like Lacerda for a change. I haven't really looked at that in detail, but I probably should, just because it is a Vital Lacerda game. I mean, I don't think he likes me that much, but I like his game, so oh well, go figure. But, I mean, a light game, he tried to do a light game with Escape Plan, and that was garbage, so, hopefully this one is better, but I'll give it a try. What are you going to play next? Well, I already said, tomorrow I'm going to take Alma Mater to my board game club, and I'm going to play several games of that because I need to get this one reviewed. But I'm interested to see how it compares to Coimbra, considering it's the same group that's done it, and it's on my table at the moment. I don't think actually. Can I? Maybe I can. Maybe this is probably going to interfere with the microphone, but Boom Arm is sort of working. No, I don't think it's gonna. No, don't think it's going to happen. Sorry, guys, but basically I've got it set up on the table over there, and I'm trying to learn the rules to it. Let's lower that a bit. Whoop. Boom on. Cool. What are you going to play next? Done that. Do you find some days and times are better to post on terms of views? Days, I don't know. Times, yes, but I can't cater for every time because there's multiple time zones. Good chunk of my audience is the US. Another chunk of it is the UK, and then there's odd sods from Australia/New Zealand, and then Europe and various other countries. But in terms of a perfect time, I don't know what it is. I mean, there's people on YouTube that go on about the analytics and stuff, and I look at my analytics and I try to get ideas, but what difference does it matter? People will watch a video when they get a chance to watch the video. We don't have enough people watching videos in the board game industry to really care too much about the specific hour I should put a video on. But my analytics do suggest that more people are on YouTube between the hours of 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 8 o'clock in the evening. So from British times, I try to air my videos between that time. But frankly, I don't pay too much attention to that. In terms of days, couldn't care less. I try to get a video out every Wednesday without fail, and a podcast every 2 weeks on Sunday without fail. On the alternate weeks, I do a different video on the Sunday. Recently, I've been putting out videos any which way but loose because they're variety content, and I've just got a pile to do with the top 100, because if I tried to do a weekly video for the top 100, you wouldn't find out what my number one was until Christmas. So that's not going to work. So lately, it is a bit more like throwing everything in the kitchen sink video-wise, but we'll soon see. Thanks for this, Luke. You're awesome. Keep up the good work and stay strong. I'm out. Yep. See you later, Carlos. Don't worry. I know I said about an hour for the stream, but I'm in the zone, so don't worry. I'm not going to end it in 6 minutes' time. We'll carry on for a bit longer. What we got? I feel like playing Elder Sign. I haven't played that one in ages. I like it fine, but I didn't play... Well, I haven't played it with Gates of Arkham, and I hear that improved it a lot, but its basic form just didn't really care that much. See if I can get that. Whoop. Yeah, camera's a little bit funky there. Fine. Have I got any more tea? Chug, chug, chug. Right, what do we got? How has sorry. If I don't enjoy the deck building of Arkham Horror LCG, but enjoy the game, is it worth keeping? I find the deck building overwhelming, to be honest. Yes, it is, and I'll tell you why, because I don't deck build that much either. Go to a website called, in fact, you might be aware of it, but I don't know. But I'm going to transfer over to the web browser and show you a website that I use. I use one for every single LCG I have. I use it for Marvel Champions, Lord of the Rings, and this as well. It's called Arkham Db. ArkhamDB.com. There's a Marvel DB and a LOTR DB for the other one. But this is a deck builder and card database for Arkham Horror LCG. I don't like to deck build either. I mean, I don't hate it, but I haven't got time to spend ages deck building, and I'm not an expert at any of my LCGs because I haven't got the time to devote solely to the game. I just like playing them. So whenever I get an investigator and I'm like, oh, I quite like to play them, what decks work with them, I go to this site. This is where I sometimes submit a deck or two myself, but quite rare, and I get inspiration from here. So popular decks, recent decks, if I just go deck lists in general, popular, recent, solo, multiplayer, you can filter. And yeah, you do get some that are kind of garbage decks, but if you stick to popular, you can see the ratings are all quite high. These are done by people who use this religiously. Like, they've got ratings in the thousands, you know, like Start With The Name, Kelprinicus, Next Level Plays. You know, these are people who regularly post decks on here. Go and do that. So, for example, I want to play Akachi. He's got a hard mode guide. I can go onto this, and it's got, you can create your deck on this website as well. It's easier than doing it with the cards. But I can see what their deck is, how many copies they are. I can see what the card is, see how much like analytics for what factions they are, what cards they do. And if it's a really good guide, like the regulars, it will give you an idea of how to pilot the deck as well. It's called net decking. And I do that because it's just easier than, as you say, deck building. So Arkham DB, go on there, just grab a deck, build it, as in just literally grab the deck and just construct it, and then work with it. And that'll work. Can I resort to the main screen live chat yet? Or do I need to keep the pop-out chat open? How has Anachrony aged for you? Still love it. Still down there. Love it to bits. Haven't played it for a while, but it's a 2.5 hour to 3 hour massive Euro, and we've been in COVID. So haven't exactly had much choice in that matter, but I think it's fantastic. I'll probably play it on Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia given a chance. But yeah, it's still great. Still one of my favorite Euros of all time. Have you ever played Star Wars Destiny? Yes, and didn't really care. It's a dice game. It was very swingy. It seemed cheap in terms of construction. I mean, I didn't really care about these dice and that. Yeah, I just played it and just thought, meh, this is not going to catch on. And to be honest, has it caught on? I hear that some people still play it, and I think they're still releasing stuff for it. I'm not entirely sure. I get mixed up with them, but honestly, it's nowhere near the height that anything else that Fantasy Flight has done. Right, now I can resort to the live chat in my OBS for a bit there. So, cool, what have we got? Have you... Oh, somebody pushed it. Somebody pushed it up. How dare you? You pushed the chain I wanted out of the screen. Have you ever had a positive fan interaction that kept you creating even when you didn't feel like it? And have you ever had a negative interaction that made you question going on? Oh, that's a good one. Yes, on both, actually. When I go to conventions, I get UK Games Expo to a little extent, but not so much in the UK. I find that even though I've got people who watch my show in the UK, people in the UK just aren't as big on saying hi, to random strangers. They do their own thing, let them. But when I've been to Essen or an overseas convention, particularly Essen, I've had people just sort of spot me randomly and just come up and say hi. And I always encourage it. Like, just come up and shake my hand, say hi, and just tell me who you are. I'm interested to see it. But when they do, and I hear that somebody likes the show and says a good comment or whatever, that's the motivation that keeps me going. Because I know I'm small fry. I know it's not going to be the big cheese type thing. But when you hear that people do watch your content and enjoy it, that's the motivational boost in itself, especially when you are, like these days with the whole rinse repeat thing I mentioned earlier, feeling down. So it does go on there. The reverse has been true to an extent, but not quite as strong. Negative interactions, Facebook can be a bit of a troll central thing, and mostly on the UK group, actually. I don't tend to get many negative... I didn't get many negative people on Board Game Group. I don't get any on the Dice Tower. Solo board gamers, I don't. But for some reason, people who did used to kind of insult me when I put a review up or said something bad about a game would usually be on the UK group. And I think that's just us Brits. I think we're just a little bit more hypercritical, or shall we say a little bit more blasé with our words, that we should sort of calm down a bit, I think. I mean, I'm not a biggest fan of being British, but yeah, so... And some trolls did not so many these days. I mentioned one earlier from another question, but to be honest, trolls are quite rare now on YouTube. But there was a period when there was quite a few of them, and you know, some of them would just say, "Oh yeah, I hate this channel, don't like it." And if I wake up in the morning and see a notification and it's from a troll, I'm like, oh. You know, and it does put me down, especially if I'm like busy and that, and you sort of think, oh, I've got a never-ending amount of videos, and now I've got to read this troll. Puts me in a sour mood, and I don't like it. So I have occasionally questioned, like, what would happen if I literally just said, you know what, as of this point, cutting it, stopping it, and just playing games rather than, not leaving the hobby, but playing games rather than doing the channel. But then I see a lot of cool stuff, and I do enjoy doing the videos and this variety content. This live streaming is great fun, so it does keep me going even in those dark times. But it's kind of I need a good mix. But there is a greater element of people being nice than there is people being mean. So, you know, it is all good. And even though I see other channels doing well, even if I don't necessarily like the channel, or if they're doing stuff that's like, you're just literally doing some overview for 2 minutes and that's your video, it's like, you know, I have to just sort of go, look, that's just the way the industry is. Carry on doing what you're doing. As long as you enjoy it, that's the main thing. Hey, Board Game Co., how you doing? Color me intrigued. Why does Vital the Surda not like... Well, I don't know if he does or not. I mean, I don't think he's got like bad blood or anything, but I know he unfollowed me on Twitter, whereas he follows other people. But, I mean, a few people unfollowed me on Twitter, and I think that was more when... I know it's a bit controversial, but when Eric Lang was going on his massive craze on Twitter with the whole BLM thing, basically... The mistake you can make when you've got extreme viewpoints going back and forth is to get involved in the conversation, and especially if you try to be the balancing part of it. And I think Vital sort of, I mean, a few people just sort of went, nope, we can't have balancing viewpoints here. You've got to be out and stuff. And I think Vital just unfollowed me for that reason. But I don't know. He still responds to a couple of posts and that, but he's never followed me back. So I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to play his games. I'm not petty, so there's just things like that. I mean, I don't know what his viewpoint is, but at the end of the day, if you unfollow me on Twitter, then there must have been a reason for it. Can't remember. Did you back Sleeping Gods? Yes, I did. Cannot wait. A group of mine who I played near and far with are very excited to get that one played. Cannot wait. That one's going to be awesome. Carlos left. Have you ever tried a Brazilian game like Sheriff of Nottingham? Is Sheriff of Nottingham a Brazilian game? I was not aware of that. But I have Sheriff of Nottingham. It's it was Arcane Wonders. So Sheriff of Nottingham, I think's in the other room. I feel like I've got the game, although I don't recall where it was on my shelf. Maybe I'm missing it. Oh no, wait, someone borrowed it. No, but they gave it back, didn't they? I don't know. I'm not entirely certain where my copy of Sheriff of Nottingham is. I'm going to have to look in the other room and see if I can find it. But it's a shame if I don't have it, because I love the game. I do love the game. Best Ticket to Ride expansion. Finally got Europe and absolutely loved it. I like Europe fine, but I just don't like the stations in it. I think the stations just make it too much easy mode. But favorite Ticket to Ride expansion? I probably might do a top 10 list at some point and really think hard about it. But off the top of my head, I'm thinking UK. And I know I'm not a fan of being British, so that sounds weird, suddenly taking that map. But I think the UK map is really strong. I really like the way that one plays. And the Pennsylvania map on the reverse of it is pretty good as well. But I also really like Japan, the new one that came out. Not so much the Italy one. The Italy one was a bit of a boring map. But the Japan map, where you've got the bullet train that goes around, and it's a small, long map, and you've got the little subway bit. I really like that as well. So I think UK and Japan would have to be my top two. if you want me to go top 3 because I'm because I'm going to be nice to you, third best one could be India, because India is one I play regularly with my dad. That's his favorite one, and it does do well with 3 of us playing it. So yeah, I mean, India would probably be my third one. All right. You can't get these glasses for love nor money these days, so I'm making certain I don't smash this one. Have you ever flipped the table or really wanted to? No. As a kid, I was a sore loser. I mean, I loved playing games with the family, but I was a sore loser as a kid. And, you know, you have to grow out of that thing. And I did. I eventually grew out of it. And nowadays, like I say, there's a reason I use the motto, it's only a game. Part of it is to tell internet media, seriously, stop overreacting when I give an opinion. But half of it is a kind of homage to the fact that I used to be a sore loser and then grew out of it. But then, with that saying, I've never flipped a table, as far as I'm aware. Maybe as a kid, I might have flipped a Monopoly board, but who hasn't? Or who hasn't desired to flip a Monopoly board when they're a kid? But as an adult, no, never flipped a table as an adult, and never would want to. I mean, I wouldn't want to ruin the game for other people if that was the case. You know, I still, even if I dislike a game, I'll still see it through to the end and try and enjoy it as much as I can. Granted, if I'm playing something like Food Chain Magnate, I would gladly like to set fire to the board as I'm playing it, but then that would ruin the game for other people there. So I would happily at least finish the game, let them enjoy it, and then burn it. But that would be great. But, nah, I never wanted to flip. Yes, I saw you earlier. Hello, Hexy Beast. I wonder, you've got to be on, you're on my channel promotion at some point soon. It won't be long before it's your turn, actually. I find it fun to pick theme decks from Arkham Db. Yes, definitely check out that website and find Marvel DB for Marvel Champions. And I forget what the other one's called. I think it's called LOTR LCG DB or LOTR DB. I'm not sure, but for Lord of the Rings, if you play it. Did you design your own logo? Time for some merchandise with it to all your listeners and viewers with their broken Meeple mug at hand. I have no idea if anybody would be interested if I did merchandise. It just sounds like something so gimmicky. It wouldn't make me any money because it would pretty much just cost a ton to make it and post it. But I just can't think there'd be that many people wanting to wear a Broken Meeple t-shirt and a mug. I know you guys would because you're awesome, but I can't imagine it. And to relate to the next question, do you sell merchandise for your logo? I certainly haven't, really. I haven't bothered to. The only thing that's made me come close to it is Patreon has this weird system where you can get them to make the merchandise and do the logistics for you, but you pay a fee. So you get money for the merchandise, it funds your channel, and a percentage goes to Patreon. I've possibly considered that. I don't know, but the problem is I've got barely any time on my hands as it is. The logistics of trying to go, right, let me order 50 mugs and then post them to various people would just kill me. You know, so if somebody else or some person or company handled the merchandising part of it and all I had to do was just give you the links and tell you what it was, maybe I'd consider it, but I just can't imagine that you know, and you do. And I've got a mug with my logo on it for the old logo. I got it just because I was doing business cards with Vistaprint for conventions, and they said for £1 you can have a mug. That's the only time I've ever done it, but I'm kind of in agreement with Vala there. I mean, I just don't really go for merchandise. I feel like I don't want to accidentally miss because I know the chat's gone down a bit. Let's have a look. Hello, Kabuki Kid. Thanks for gracing us with your presence. Sleeping Gods further delayed. Yep, I know. But at the end of the day, I'm not exactly in a rush. It's not like I ain't got enough games. How much of your extended family follows your content and do they tend to support it? Any non-gamer family members follow your content? Most of my family are non-gamers, to be honest. I mean, my family, we enjoyed games as a family, but we're talking 1980s stuff. So, was it? I'll get to your thing, Kabuki. But with yeah, with the family aren't gamers, but they have recently followed my content. Not followed it, but they have watched it, and I find that embarrassing as all get out because I don't want them to watch my content because I just feel like, oh god, parents, did you have to watch me act like a fool on camera about something you don't understand? But they've been impressed with what I do, and I think half of it is just because I made a 40th birthday video for my brother's fiance, who, you know, he got me a bunch of montage videos of people saying happy birthday to her, all their friends, and I put it together into a big video with music and effects and stuff, and they really liked it. And it took me all weekend to make, but I was proud of it. And I think since then they sort of thought, let's actually watch something on his channel, because Jade, his fiance, sees me on Instagram because she's a massive like selfie taker. So she saw me on Instagram and thought, let me just watch one of his videos, one of my recent ones, and they were impressed with it. But I still find it embarrassing that the family has watched it. So they don't follow me per se, but they have seen my content. They know more about what I do. Previously, they just knew what I did, but never actually watched it. If you're not the biggest fan of being British, where would you choose to live? You could go somewhere else. Ooh, I'm thinking probably somewhere in Europe. I never been to Japan, so I don't know about like Japan. I've never been to New Zealand, so I don't know about being Australia or New Zealand. And as much as, you know, I know a lot of really cool Aussies and New Zealanders, I don't want to go anywhere where there's giant spiders. So I can't go around there. I can't call myself Australian because I'd just emigrate the second I see a big spider. But probably not American. I can't see myself being American. I'm thinking European. And I don't know which specific country. I love Europe. I love continental Europe. I mean, I know Board Game Ramblings, Norway. So Norway's really cool. I've been to Austria, beautiful place. I like Germany. I've met great Germans, and you know, I go to Essen. I need to visit Belgium at some point. I've been briefly to the Netherlands for Amsterdam. Sadly, that trip got cut short because of an ex-girlfriend, but I certainly would like to go back to Amsterdam and Rotterdam and visit a bit more. Oh no, I have been to Rotterdam. I went there en route to Essen last year. So yeah, Rotterdam was nice. I like Spain. I want to go to Italy. France is fine. You know, I'm hopefully going to Iceland for Midgard next year if COVID hurries up and skedaddles by then. I would just probably say I'd love to just say I'm from Europe, just not British. It's like I want to be in the EU again. I hate this Brexit stuff. I don't want us to leave the EU, but we're forced to. So thank you, government. But yeah, even though the rest of Europe hates us, I still love Europe. How's the engagement in Marvel Champions? I like Arkham Horror LCG, but don't know how Marvel would be without an ongoing storyline. I like it fine. I think it's pretty good. Granted, there isn't really much of an ongoing storyline. You just have the individual scenarios. And yes, we've got a campaign from Rise of Red Skull, but from what I've heard, it's a pretty bare bones campaign. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I just don't think it's going to make much deal. So, I mean, it's engaging because the card mechanics are good. And it's Marvel. I get to play my favorite Marvel heroes and go up against iconic villains. And, you know, the card play is really interesting where, you know, you want to have the card, but you've got to use your other cards to pay for the card. So you've got to make that tough decision as to what you're going to use each card for. It's a really solid game. But yeah, if you're going to play the game for story, you're not going to get it with Marvel Champions. You're doing it because you love superheroes and the mechanics. Kabuki has come in. Lighting issues today. Hard to say. I don't know. I mean, the bulb is fine. It just, for some reason, seems a bit dark at this end. Bear in mind, it's now 9:15 at night, so it's dark outside. But I did have another light right there. In the camera. So down there was another light, but I've been doing a lot of recording lately, and I think the batteries have worn out, so it's gone out. So that was illuminating this bit, but frankly, it's a live stream. Who cares? You can still see my face. What's the difference? So it's like, if it was a proper video, I'd obviously recharge them, but no big deal. I want a Luke plushie. Luke plushie. I dread to think what a plushie of me would look like. I mean, I wouldn't say no to a broken Meeple plushie. That'd be pretty cool. Unpopular opinion, but a lot of merchandise seems so cringe. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either. Calax with a C. That's an interesting name. Is that your channel name? Luke, I see you rated Empires of the North a 10. If you kind of like that game but wish it had a lot more interaction, not that it doesn't, what game would you recommend? Empires of the North doesn't have a huge amount of interaction. Some stuff does, but for the most part, you don't interact much with the other players, which is why Empires of the North is best solo, and then best with 2, and then with 3, and then with 4. It gradually gets worse the more players you have. But you know, I gladly will play Empires of the North. I think it's fantastic. But you want something like that, but with more interaction. Might need to help me out on this one, guys, because I'm not sure. Because Imperial Settlers is the same sort of deal where there's not a huge amount of interaction. But a card tableau building game where there is interaction. Problem is, there isn't that much. I mean, I suppose maybe Nations is a very different game. It's more like Through the Ages, but that one has you interacting with the other players in some respects. I don't really know. Chat, can you help me out on this one? Because interaction is something that's hard to find in a lot of Euro games. So to think of a card tableau game where you do interact with the other players is not one that I see myself playing as much, but also one that even kind of exists. Dice City, maybe? I mean, that's a lighter affair, but you build a tableau city with your cards, and some of them affect other players. Suburbia, to a lesser extent, you're doing it with tiles, not cards, but that's interactive with other players. Hard to say. I would, Res Arcana. Does Res Arcana really... I mean, I've only played it a few times. I kind of got bored with it, but I think it's fine, but I just don't see the buzz for it. But that does sort of interact with other players, but not to a great extent. But I suppose that is probably... It's better than any other choice I've come up with, so we'll stick with it. It's okay, I've seen on camera, my brothers have seen that, it doesn't get any worse. I am not seeing it on camera, it's not happening. That was your choice. Why on earth did you want to see it on camera anyway? Any current Grail games you're still hoping for someday? Well, when you say current Grail that you're still hoping for, what you mean a Grail game that doesn't exist yet and I want it? I suppose... Hard to say. I mean, one game I am hoping will turn out great. I mean, so hoping it will turn out great. Arcane Wonders and Dice Tower Essentials, they're doing Freedom 5, I think it's called. It's a board game version of Sentinels in the Multiverse, one of my favorite games. And it will... it will have you using those Sentinel characters, but doing a kind of more miniature-based combat thing. And I know they tried something before, but that wasn't particularly good, the tactical one. But Arcane Wonders are good, and if it's going to be Dice Tower Essentials, it's got to be pretty decent. So I am praying that that one turns out great. So that could be the Grail game I'm hoping for the future. Hoping for... What's a hugely popular board gaming theme that makes you want to turn and run from the table? Which ones don't work for you? Beige Euros. So bog standard Renaissance Italy Euros where you got to please the Pope or something. So think Hansa Teutonica and all that stuff. And, Lorenzoni Magnifico and all that lot. 18XX, I will run screaming for the hills for an 18XX game. Or train games mostly. 99% of train games in general, I will run for the hills. Anything made by Splotter, I will run for the hills. The super driest of Euros would make me go, I'm not too sure. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I'll play any game once. Even if it's a game where it's like, this probably is something I'm not going to like, I'll still try it. I've played train games just to try them out. I've played beige Euros just to try them out. And if I don't like them, I don't like them. But I still play it and make the best of it. But some games like Pulsar 2849 down there, one of my favorite games. And it's a bone-dry, themeless point salad. I should hate it. It's even done by a designer, I think Vladimir Suchi or something, who I don't tend to like his other games. Although he did... Yes, he did do that one. And I think he did... Did he do Underwater Cities as well? So I like those two. But I shouldn't like Pulsar 2849. But I love it. So... You do find these hidden gems every now and again, and so I will play any game once, even if it's a genre I don't like, just to see if I can get one of those hidden gems. Yes, good one for Res Arcana. Everdell, for that previous question. Yeah, actually, no, I think Everdell's a good choice. Some cards do interact with other players, just not a lot of them. Maybe the expansions fix that. But it is a card tableau game that could work. Targi, it's a two-player game. You're always interacting with your opponent. I mean, and you're not really building that much of a tableau in Targi, I don't think. I mean, you get some abilities in that, but it's more about the work of placements. I don't think that kind of fits, but I haven't even looked at Fort. I mean, the title is called Fort. It's not really one that I've really gone to like, oh, I better look up Fort, but yeah, everyone's talking about that one, so maybe in the future I'll check it out. But if it's similar to Targi, then I'll give it a look. I like Targi. Bus is the one Splotter game that actually looks cool to me. I've looked at that game, well, Splotter / Capstone Games, isn't it? But I've seen friends of mine play it, and they say they like it because they actually like some of the Splotter stuff. I look at the board and I think, what are they smoking? So I can't think I would ever like Bus, but I've never played it. So if they said, Luke, do you want to play it? I will try it, but I'm certainly not getting my hopes up for it, put it that way. What's the last book you read strictly for pleasure? I really don't read anymore. I just haven't got time. I used to have a bit of a thing with Audible and audiobooks, so I read and listened to Ender's Game. I have read and listened to Lord of the Rings. I have read and listened to Hunger Games. All really good. But in terms of the last book that I read at the moment, like in the last 2-3 years, I've read that isn't a rule book. It would have to be a compendium I've got in the other room, which is the short stories book for Arkham Horror. They released like a big hardback book of short stories for all the investigators. And I barely read like 30% of the book. But what I have read has been good fun, and it gives me a nice quick overview of what this character is and what their motivation is. So it makes me enjoy them in the Arkham Horror LCG more and Eldritch Horror. But I just haven't had time to read any more of the short stories. But that's probably the only one I've read where I've like, you know what, I just feel like a little story. Because I haven't got time. Oh yeah, and I did like reading some of the Sherlock Holmes books. They were good. I tried reading some of the Lovecraft novels at one point, but I tried to get through the Innsmouth one, and about 10 pages in, I thought, nope, because I just could not understand a word that was said in it. It is such a tough read. Bus was okay. The idea of the time reset manipulation is weird. Well, I don't expect Splotter to give me a thematic game, but people like it. It's a shorter Splotter game, so I'd rather try Bus than any other Splotter game. So I have not played Roads and Boats. I have no intention of playing Roads and Boats. Duck Duck Go, whatever it's called, the Duck. What's it called? Duck Trader? I don't know, whatever it is, some weird game. If it's Splotter, I don't tend to go near it, but I would give Bus a try. Let's see, I'll probably end this around 9:30ish time. Have you paid for any first-run movies streamed at home or gone to the theatre during this pandemic? No, I have not, but I refuse to pay $30 or, well, was it 20 quid over here for a film. I'm sorry. I've got to get some Blu-rays. I'm going to get a couple of Doctor Who stories on Blu-ray, some of the classic tales that are out. I haven't got Fury from the Deep and Faceless ones, but that's a Blu-ray. But I'm not paying 20 quid for a film that I will not own just to watch it on Disney+. So sorry, Mulan, not happening. However, from what I have seen of the reviews that I have watched for it, it looks like a pile of crap anyway. And what are you surprised? It's a Disney live-action remake. They have not done any good films, these Disney live-action remakes. And from what I know of the plots of Mulan, from watching pitch meetings, Nostalgia Critic and Angry Joe, yeah, it's confirmed my worst fears, and they've just basically gone against what the old animation was like. Watch the animated Mulan. It's instantly going to be better. But no, I've not gone to the theatre because there's not been anything to watch. I've got no interest in this Tenant, whatever it's called. I was going to watch the New Mutants, the X-Men thing, but then I read the reviews coming out for it and it was slagging it off like crazy. So I thought, probably not then. But the thing is, films that I want to watch were meant to come out in May and April. I was going to go on my birthday, back in April, I was going to go watch the James Bond movie. Postponed. I wanted to watch Black Widow. Postponed. I wanted to watch Wonder Woman 1984. Postponed. It just... Honestly, when those films get released later this year, which I think James Bond and Black Widow's October, November time, they're going to get released. Oh yeah, I'll be to the theatre by myself. I'll buy a ticket. If you want me to wear a mask for the entire film, I'll wear it. I don't care. Just let me watch a good film. Let's see how quickly I can go for these ones. I enjoyed reading Hunger Games, but the audiobook just freaked me out when you hear the horrible stuff happening being read out loud. It makes it a bit too real. I didn't notice that as much, but I like the films a lot, but the films are made too much for a teenage audience, I think. They're good. I like the films, but there's stuff that happens, particularly in the books. Like, they get rid of these... mutated humans that the rich people have got, that they have as servants. Oh no, not mutated. They cut their tongues out or something like that. They've got them as servants. That'd be pretty dark and messed up if they had that in the movies. Some of the deaths of the various children are more graphic in the book than they are in the film. And there's essentially mass homicide or mass killing of children or whatever in the final book. And the film glosses over it quite lightly. But the book goes into detail, and it's like, wow. So the book's definitely a lot more, shall we say, darker than the films. But I like both. HP Lovecraft stuff on the Author Library website. Just too big a read for me. Fury from the Deep looks really good. It does. I mean, I've seen clips from it, from black and white footage in the past. It does look like a really dark, chilling tale. I know pretty much nothing about the plot or anything. I've just seen, like, censorship clips where they've shown like the Australian censor clips that are like the only surviving footage. But yeah, a brand new story I know nothing about, cannot wait. And the Faceless ones sounds pretty good as well. I've only seen a couple of episodes from surviving footage and I didn't realize it was out, so I need to get that. But when are they going to make the Evil of the Daleks as an animation one? Seriously, I've got it on audio, but Evil of the Daleks is such a good story. And it's got the Emperor in it. Why is that not animated yet? It's just crying out for it. My wife just gave you a fist bump over the Mulan thing. Fist bump for you, yes. You want to watch Mulan, go watch the animated classic. Not the sequel. Mulan 2 is garbage. Watch the original animated Mulan. Still love that song, Make a Man Out of You. I think it's brilliant. It's like, I could just imagine myself at the gym doing a montage to that song. It's really good. In fact, I should put that on my playlist. Essen isn't happening, but that hasn't stopped the launch. What games are you really drooling for? Oh, I had it on a geek list recently, but I haven't got time to look it up in the moment. But I don't really know. There's not a huge amount I'm drooling for, per se. I mean, there's expansions I'm drooling for. The next Seven Wonders Duel expansion, that's going to be really good. I'm trying to think. Maybe I can quickly find it on air while I'm looking at other questions, but I need to find the geek list that I was looking at. So if I can find that, I think it's on the BGG homepage, I might be able to look up basically there's no Essen list, but there's a game release preview for September, October 2020. And I think if I can filter, if I can filter this page, don't worry, I'll show it on the main screen if it works. Interested and undecided, so apply. If this loads up the titles I'm thinking of, okay, cool. So let's bring this on the screen here. Just means that the stream's going to go longer than 90 minutes. Oh, well, what the hell? I'm sure you guys aren't complaining. Web browser with cam and live chat. Here we go. Okay, so this is the list I got. So I skimmed through the list and I'm very picky with games that I get excited for, because I haven't got time to read every single game's mechanics. And just because the game says deck building doesn't mean I'm going to love the game. So I'm very, very picky and harsh. So what makes me click on your game is usually recognizable publisher and designer and a good board game cover. You've got to sell me on your cover. If your cover looks like trash, which some of the recent train games do and that, I don't care, what your game looks like, if your game is any good. If I have no interest in taking it off the shelf, it means that I will play it, but I'll wait till later. This is the stuff that makes me go, ooh, I want to find out more about this. Imagine that you go to a game store, a proper brick and mortar game store, and you browse the shelf. Which ones do you take off the shelf? The ones that look good, with good titles. That's what I look for. But let me quickly skim down. I don't have many, so don't worry, this won't take long. Calico, I'm interested in this. Olgerac, nice small game. Who doesn't like cats? Cats are cute. Cute cats are awesome. So I think this will be good. Aquatica, yep, I missed out on getting a copy of this before, and I would like to play it properly. Whistle Mountain looks quite cool. I quite like Whistle Stop. I'm actually considering buying the game for the collection, actually, because I thought it was quite cool. So another one in the series, I'd go with it. This one you use blimps and build upside a mountain and stuff. It sounds pretty cool. Cloud City, I don't know much about this, but Blue Orange do good light games. I know that 60 minutes is a good time length for me. It'll be easy for me to teach. Building a City sounds cool. Under the Moonlight, and I think it's an expansion for photosynthesis. Yeah, it's an expansion for photosynthesis. It's a good game. Still got it. Taiwan Tinsuyu the Incan Empire. That one, yeah, I played a demo of it with David Turksey, and I think it's a pretty solid game. It's kind of like a Meteor 5 Tribes, so should be quite cool. That's an expansion for Aquatica. Lost Ruins of Arnak. Yes, this will be one. Honestly, go to my podcast, The Year of CGE. Hear my thoughts on this and Under Falling Skies. 2 games that I think are going to be great. And watch the Paul Grogan live stream where I'm playing Lost Ruins of Arnak with Fiona from the Game Shelf. I think it's game number 2 on his channel, but my podcast will give you the link. But yeah, that game I am looking forward to. And speaking of the devil, Under Falling Skies. I thought this was a great solo game. I played it co-op with Andy Lewis from Polyhedron Collider, and we had a blast. I think it's going to be a fantastic solo game. Arkham Horror 3rd Edition expansion. Paris, don't know much about. Shifting Stones, a 20-minute puzzle game from GameRight. I just figured it looked cheap and cheerful. I thought, it's not going to be too much, but I put it as undecided. Mysterium Park looks basically just like a shorter version of Mysterium. Okay, if they do it right, I like these type of games. Gods Love Dinosaurs, it just sounds like a weird theme. It looks like it'll be a laugh. 45 minutes, tile placement. I like dinosaurs, drafting. It just seems silly enough that I would like to give it a look. Tammany Hall, I don't know if I'm excited for that one, but I put it as undecided. But people have been talking highly of it. Raiders of Scythia, seems cool, but it doesn't look like I'd get it over Raiders of the North Sea, and the graphic design issues in it are going to put me off. Oh, Viscounts of the West Kingdom, that was really good. Possibly the 2nd edition of Seven Wonders, just to see how it is. Beyond the Sun. Oh, yeah. I don't know much about this game, but it's Rio Grande, and it's 2 hours tops, and it's a developer tech tree, so it's kind of space exploration. I like sci-fi, space exploration games. Could be quite fun, so I'm interested in that. But, that's all I've got from that geek list, and there was a lot more on there. So I'm just not as keen on, games unless they can wow me, because there was a lot of stuff that looks like trash on that list. So, yeah, not as much as that. Anyway, let's carry on. Are you really drooling for us with that? Do you separate the art from the artist when the artist turns out to be deplorable in some fashion? Are you okay with enjoying the art as long as it isn't making the artist any richer? How do you mean deplorable in some fashion? To be honest, I don't really research the artists in games much. I just know there are some artists where I'm like, oh, this is really good art. The art in Alma Mater and Coimbra is very garish, but I quite like the color of it. Miguel Coimbra, who does Small World and certain other games, he's really good. Not Palomori. Is it Palomori? No, he's a designer. It's Pedro something, I think. The guy who does Ghost Stories and some of that artwork, really good. Vincent Dutrait. I don't know their names, but the person who does the Seven Wonders art is great. The person who did Abyss, that Abyss artwork. Do I separate them? I don't know, really. I haven't researched them enough to know if any of them are deplorable, so I don't quite know what you mean by that. Isn't making the artist any richer? Is it exploitation you're worried about? I need more detail on that. Didn't the actress from Mulan also stick up for the Hong Kong police? Yeah, the Mulan, the actress is a bit controversial with her beliefs. I've heard rumors that some of the Mulan film was filmed in concentration camps. That's dubious. I'm not going to go into detail on that one. But Disney basically made her a Mary Sue, so all the struggle from the original animation's gone. So it's like, why do I care about this character? Watch the pitch meeting for Mulan on Screen Rant. It will go through so many different plot holes in the show. It's unreal. It's just so much wrong with it. Evil of the Daleks is being done in 2021, I heard. Oh, please let it be so. I will be gagging for that one. I bought Disney Plus to catch up on Marvel movies, so I know the theme behind Marvel Champions. Well, good, fair enough. You can't go wrong with that. I have yet to see any of those live-action Disney remakes, but just yesterday I was talking with a friend who has seen them all and said that none of them are better than the original, and he or she is absolutely right. All of them are rubbish. Some are better than others. I can tolerate Aladdin, but tolerate is a strong word. tolerate Jungle Book, but again, that's got a lot of flaws with it and problems. But Beauty and the Beast remake is trash. Cinderella remake is trash. The Lion King is a shot-for-shot live remake, and yet it has less emotion and passion than the animation. Trash. The Mulan film looking to be pretty bad as well. So, yeah, honestly, you can't stop remaking stuff that didn't need to be remade. Remake the stuff that was bad and make it better. Stop remaking the good animations. Honestly, the Beauty and the Beast animation is a classic. And Disney just doesn't know how to do their remakes. Oh, Mary Poppins remake, or the sequel or whatever, that was pretty bad as well. I mean, watch the original Mary Poppins. Much better. It's just, I can't believe what they do. I mean, quick example. This is where they don't get it. Beauty and the Beast, right? Watch the first scene with the song where she's going around. There's a da 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 da, or whatever it is. No, I'm not singing Board Game Co. But the first song where she's going through the town and they're talking about what a bit of an oddball she is and that, right? Compare the two scenes, right? And there's two things you will notice. Miles more passion in the singing in the animation, deadpan in the second one, like they're practically speaking their lines, but also notice the color, right? In the animation, notice one thing. Bella is the only one in the entire city that wears blue. She's meant to stand out from the rest of the town, so Disney purposely made her the only one who wears a blue dress. Nobody else wears blue, apart from possibly the Beast, but then they're meant to be together. So everybody else doesn't wear blue. In the live-action remake, though, everybody pretty much wears blue. She doesn't stand out at all. Oh, she likes to read, and somehow invents a washing machine or something. It's like, yeah, that's standing out as a true, like, female. I don't know. It's just little things like that. Sounds nitpicky, but you just know that they don't get what made the original so good when they forget things like that. I've yet to see. Did you buy the Target expansion yet? I have. Have I played it? No, because two-player games are hard to get to the table, but I do want to. But Target is an amazing game. It will stay on my shelf even if I don't get to play it for ages, and at some point, I will play it with the expansion. Chicken or lamb donor? Chicken. Love chicken. I think we'll wrap this up very soon by 9:45, I think, at the latest. Somewhere Beyond the Sun. I always wanted to sing Bobby Darin when I hear that title. Okay, fair enough. Artists of any sort, musicians, authors, actors, anything goes. Well, how do you mean then? Let me try and go back to the question you asked earlier, because I'm trying to understand it. The art from the artist. Oh, wow, I thought you were talking about board game art. Right, Oh, I see what you mean. Hard to say. I mean, I don't tend to... I find out about these things, but I don't tend to go into too much detail into the backstory of various people. I mean, there are some... Twitter has got turned into a cesspool lately. You know, it is just people moaning and pulling... I don't want to swear, but, you know, they're like digging at each other on Twitter. And we had this phase, didn't we, where directors and actors were getting sacked from films because of tweets that they sent like 5 million years ago. And it's just like, seriously? There was the whole controversy with, I think, James Gunn, or whoever was doing the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. They didn't want him to do the third film. And it's like, I'm sorry, he just made 2 awesome Guardian of the Galaxy films, and you're basically having to go at him because of a tweet that was like 10 years old. Just stop digging up the past like that and just let him do his job because it's a good one. So there are some instances like that where I'm just like, look, you do have to separate the art from the artist, though. I mean, good example is H.P. Lovecraft. Okay, H.P. Lovecraft himself. If you look at his history, he's got some fairly dubious and deplorable things that he said in that time period. Bear in mind, we're talking 1920s here. And so you could argue that, you know, the whole racism thing with him is like pretty bad. And yes, it is. But that's not the same as what his books are. His stories and the Lovecraftian mythos and that are good fun to read in the Eldritch Horror and the Arkham Horror games. So I still like that. Do I have to like the individual? No. But do I like the art that's being produced? Yeah. Why not? There's music done by people that I probably think, yeah, I don't particularly like the artist for that music, but I'm still going to hum that song every time it plays in the car. So I can probably separate them out. Let's see. I enjoy Marvel Champions, but would personally prefer a DC version of it. Wouldn't say no to a DC alternative. Aladdin was not bad, but why did they make Genie resemble Smith? Genie in the original didn't resemble Williams. That was not only stupid, it was weird. But the problem is, when you do live, you have to use the actor. And personally, I don't mind Will Smith as a Genie. But Will Smith, when he's looking like Will Smith, when he's normal skin color or whatever, he's good as the Genie. When he's allowed to switch on that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air charm, he does well. But once he's blue and they've got to do all the flashy effects around him, it looks weird and it's not funny. The jokes just aren't funny. But with the only bit, when he is blue, the only bit that's fun when he is blue is the Friend Like Me song, because it's actually quite a good rendition of Friend Like Me. Yes, it's not as good as the Robin Williams version, but I think it's a really good substitute. Aladdin, the thing is, it looks like Aladdin, great. But the climax is nothing like the original. It's a stupid climax. The star who they get for Aladdin cannot act. He also cannot sing, like, at all. The auto-tuning can't do anything for him, but he can dance like a pro. So the dancing stuff with him is great, but that's it. I need more than just a dancer to play Aladdin. But is it Naomi Harris, or it's Naomi something, I think, the woman who plays Jasmine? Brilliant. Jasmine has a more fleshed out character. I don't like the pop song that she sings in the middle of the film. It sounds nothing like the other Aladdin songs. But, oh well, kudos for trying, and it sings it well. It seems like it would be better in Frozen than it does Aladdin. But she acts pretty well. She's got emotion, and she can sing like a pro because he's actually a singer. So, great. That worked. But the Genie didn't work. And Aladdin didn't work. And Jafar really does not work. I'm sorry. The original intimidating Jafar with, like, it was like, yes, I'll give you your reward, your eternal reward. All the stuff with Jafar was brilliant in the original. Who's the schmuck they got for the live action remake? He talks weird, he's got a high pitched voice, and half the time he's talking, he's like, now I can take you what you deserve, or say, it's like pumping my lips every time I'm talking. It's like, I hated that Jafar. Really, really bad. Let's see. Last couple of questions and I wrap this up. What's your all-time favorite Disney film? One animated and one live action. Yeah, in fact, this will make this the last one. Right, all-time favorite Disney film. One animated and one live action. Not counting Pixar and Star Wars. I can't count Pixar. Pixar's got so many good films. All-time favorite Disney film that's one animated and one live action that isn't Pixar. All right. Well, if we're going Disney animation, I'm looking more original Disney animations, and a lot of them. I mean, they're all good. They're all classics. I'm not going to say Lion King, mainly because Timon and Pumbaa got on my nerves, but the rest of it's pretty good. I might say the original Aladdin is one of my favorites. I mean, it's got some issues, but I like the original Aladdin. I mean, Robin Williams as a genie is fantastic. It looks great. Everything's all energetic. All the songs are really good. Jafar's a great villain. The climax is epic in scale and looks cool. I really like the original animated Aladdin. Who's that? Who was Dutch? What, the guy who played Jafar is Dutch? Is he? Wait a minute, are you talking about the animation or the live action one? I thought the live action one was Indian or something. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. But a live action Disney film, well, I mean, everything's owned by Disney, so what's a live action Disney film? I mean, obviously, I'm guessing you can't count Marvel, because they are owned by Disney now. Near Jafar, when it is Dutch? Alright, live action Disney film. I mean, again, I can't. The problem is everything's owned by Disney, so there's probably a film that I love to bits that is Disney, but I don't know it's Disney. So I'm just going to go old school. I'm going to think back nostalgia. So you're talking about the live one being Dutch. Oh, okay, cool. But let's see, live action old one. Mary Poppins is really good, but I've got to think nostalgia. Which live action Disney film do I remember from nostalgia? Probably Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Bedknobs and Broomsticks I watched as a kid. I still find it charming today. I've watched the extended version of it. So the one where the song number in the middle of the street goes forever. Like it goes on for like decades. That song number is good to watch. It's charming. I like the actress. I forget her name. She did like Murder, She Wrote and that. I like the actress in it. She's charming. The kids aren't that annoying, at least not too much. The football scene with the animated characters is still fun to watch for its slapstick comedy. Yeah, I'd probably go Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang's half decent as well, but no, I'd probably go Bed Knobs and Broomsticks. Yes, Angela Lansbury, thank you. But yeah, I've got a nostalgic charm for that one, and I like the whole idea of knights and like armor suits coming to life and kicking Nazis' ass. It's like really good. You know, it's just pretty cool. And I must admit that chant they do to resurrect the armor and that, it's quite an addictive chant actually. Anyway, yes. Cool, yes, people are starting to have to go now, so thank you, Pascal, thank you, Devon. I'm going to wrap the stream up now. I think an hour and 3/4 is more than not enough. I've got time to maybe go downstairs and watch more of The Boys, because I do need to get on with that series. So, yes, thank you very much. I am definitely going to do one of these every month, one a month. I don't know when each month, it will be random, but basically I will make certain there is one in October and one in November to do a big extended Q&A, but more live chats on the way. Like I say, the reviews in live form I'll consider. You're going to get at least 30 to 50 games talked about live stream for the top 100. So I want to try and play some apps on solo plays on here, so you can hear the game audio and see the app while I'm playing it live stream. I want to try that soon. So yeah, live streams are definitely going to come by. So thanks everybody who has joined me for this. I hope other people who watch this after it's aired enjoy this as well and get some entertainment at work, shall we say. You can just listen to my ramblings. That's what I'm good for. But yeah, thanks for coming out. I'll see you soon wherever you're from. Take care. Remember, it's only a game, and hot in this room, I must admit. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.